What's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life.
AKA.
On today's video, we're going to be exploring Gifford, Florida. So we're going to explore this place that's been requested because of this person that lives here, used to live here. So we're going to explore the neighborhood. This is a requested video. I don't really know this artist. I don't listen to mainstream music really, so I don't really know too much about the artist, so there's nothing I can comment on that. Not mention too much about all that because, you know, if you want to do that research yourself, you can. I did do a little bit of research on him, and it seems like he was born to a mother which was very young. So we're going to explore the neighborhood and see what it looks like. Now, I've been here before. I did a video, and you wouldn't really believe that these little towns in this Florida East Coast are really bad places to live, but there is some poverty out here. There's real life scenarios out here, you know?
As we always say on this channel, look beyond the palm trees.
Yeah, you gotta look beyond the palm trees, you really do. Sometimes people, especially in other places, when they think about Florida, the only thing they see is the palm trees. You know, oh, it looks beautiful, look at the palm trees, but you have to look a little bit closer to really see the details of life in a place like this. This isn't a place where there's much industry at all. You know, some places get industry, some places get investments, and some places don't get nothing. And this is a part of Florida that pretty much gets nothing. There's not a lot of investment. There's not a lot of industry. There's no car manufacturing. There's nothing. I mean, I think Vero has on the outskirts one plant. I think it's like a CVS distribution center. And Vero is a place that, even like as Florida's growing, Vero hasn't really grown. Vero's kind of just stayed kind of in a shell of itself the way it's been. Like, I mean, I was out here when I was young, and it really hasn't changed. Like, there's a new house going up there. That's good that there's some new houses. But Florida's had an explosion of growth, and in this area, Vero really hasn't seen much of it. And not much else can be said about adjacent areas like, let's say, you know, Sebastian. It's about the same it's always been. So it's like, it's definitely, it's not the crazy Florida you've been hearing about. A little bit slower speed. And don't ever assume that these towns, because they're small and that people out here don't have real situations like in big cities, you know. And now in the future, with Miami getting so much more expensive, you're going to find yourself in a situation where probably in the future, as people are getting outpriced in Miami, Fort Pierce, you know, Sebastian, anything up along the east coast of Florida that maybe in the past wasn't real estate people were looking at, might start to have a little bit of a, and it's not like people are wanting to move here from other states, it's just from within Florida itself, people are being outpriced to other places, so that they might end up here. As prices just keep going to ridiculous levels, really. But you can definitely see the poverty in this place. And my advice to anybody young, you know, you can be 16, you know, if you're out there and you're young, you can be 15, 16 years old, you can start doing something. You can start learning how to use editing programs for video, music. You know, a lot of times when you don't have resources, you do have time on your hands that you could use, especially if you're still living with your parents, to learn video editing programs. You know, there's a lot of, you can even get a free demo version. If you don't have the money, you can get a free demo version of FL Studio. You know, there's programs out there that have free demo versions, and you can learn how to use all that to make beats, edit videos. You know, there's a lot of things you can do as a poor person to try to improve your situation. There's a lot of things you can do. You know, just because you're poor doesn't mean you have no options. And if you're young and you know you're having a pretty hard outcome in life, at a young age, man, take advantage of all that free time you have as a teenager instead of playing video games. Find something you can start editing and working on and improving. YouTube's a good business. You can start a podcast. There's 1,000 things you can do. But one thing you don't want to do is throw your life away. Look out today, even though it's a poor neighborhood. Look at the trees, look at the sky, look at your freedom. If you're a young person out here, think about, it's not really worth throwing your life away. You're better off out here on the streets going through hardships than you are not having your life, not having your freedom, because those are things that don't have a price. Your freedom doesn't have a price, your life doesn't. So if you're a young person out here, watch who you hang out with. I know a lot of kids that I hung out with when I was a teenager, I'd have done anything for them because they're my friends, but now that we're adults, I don't see none of those kids. We're not on social media with each other. We fell off, you know what I mean? A lot of them fell off. We're not friends on social media anymore. We don't hang out anymore. I'd have done anything for those kids when I was growing up. And a lot of them, and my dad told me, I told you these kids you're hanging out with aren't worth anything. I told you they weren't worth garbage. My dad was telling me those kids you're hanging out with, they're not worth anything. So a lot of the people that today you might think are important in your life, your friends in your neighborhood, you might do anything for those kids right now. But maybe when you're 10 years down the line, you're not going to be friends with those kids, and you're going to be out here. So you don't have to impress anybody, you don't have to, if your friends are going to get you in trouble, you might think you have to do, something to prove. You ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. A lot of the most square kids I ever met in school. I remember one kid down there where I grew up in Florida. Complete square. This kid, they made fun of him, they picked on him. Complete square, man. This kid was just not the most uncool kid ever. Last time I saw him, he was in a Lamborghini. Because he was focused on his grind. Owning a business too. And a Lamborghini. So sometimes we put importance on stuff like, trying to look cool and trying to impress people, but you got a whole life in front of you.
I can tell you from my own experience, I don't hang out with kids.
Yeah.
I don't even talk to them, not even on friends on Facebook anymore with the kids that I hung out in high school.
None. Nope. Wouldn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the kids that are cool now, when you're a teenager, a lot of those kids are going to be, when they grow up to be adults, they're not going to be anything as adults. I remember kids in school, they were the coolest thing because their parents were buying them clothes. Their parents were buying them shoes. When they were in school, they were the coolest thing in school, and they were really the talk of the town in school, And one day you're an adult and you pull up to a Burger King drive-thru at 3 in the morning and they're in the drive-thru window, and you're like, man, I thought, it's kind of like, remember that 50 Cent song? In high school, what happened to you? In high school, you was the man. What happened? So don't assume that just because right now somebody might appear to be winning. Life is a long process. Don't mess up your credit. Start building your credit. Save some money so one day you can start a business. It's going to be a lot harder to do those things once you have kids, once you have bills. Then you got to focus on that, and you're not going to be able to focus on you. And believe in yourself. Like, I think if I had believed in myself earlier in life, instead of a lot of times when you're poor, you're programmed that you're not going to be anything. You're always going to be poor. You're never going to be anything. You're just going to go to jail when you grow up. That you get to the point where you hear that so much, you actually start to believe you're not going to be anything. Because you've been told you're going to be garbage your whole life. Now you might actually believe it. You might be the next star. You might be the next neighborhood real estate owner. You might be the next Amazon. You might be the next Google. And people will talk you out of they'll talk you out of something that you're entitled to. Don't let people talk you out of what you are. Because a lot of times, you'll start to believe it. Like me, they told me that I wasn't going to be anything since I was little. Everybody told me I wasn't going to be anything. And you get to the point where you might believe that. Your teachers might be telling you that. Some of your family members might be telling you that. Some people might not be telling you that way, but they're treating you like that, And you might start to believe you're really not going to be anything because that's the only thing you've been brought up to understand. You might start believing that. And sometimes in life you don't have to be this great superstar. You don't have to be famous and rich. If you just have you work, you got a place to live, you got a wife, kids, and a family, and people that love you. Sometimes that's all you really need to be happy in life. Life success is not always measured in fame and notoriety. Success might just be having a family, being a normal person. That might just be success, Success doesn't exactly have to be you becoming a superstar, you being famous on the internet, or being rich. Success might just be, taking care of your family, being a normal person. And, a lot of people will talk you out of your rights, man. What you're supposed to be, what's guaranteed for you. Don't let anybody ever make you feel like you're not that. And it might be your teachers, it might be your peers, it might be people at work, out of workplace. Don't make you feel like you're nothing. But remember, when somebody's making you feel like you're less, that doesn't exactly make them better. So that's my message to the young people out here, because I know it's hard. I grew up in a place very similar to this. Of course, it's changed now. But when I grew up in Naples, it was kind of similar to this in a way. A little bit more affluent, you could say. But don't ever let anybody tell you or make you feel like you're less, because you're not. It's weird how this world has a way of making you feel to the point where you start to believe it almost. Like me, I got to the point where when I was a teenager, I believed I wasn't going to be anything. I was in Naples, I was getting in trouble over there. My parents sent me over here for a little bit just so I could cool down. And I probably did more worse crap over here than I ever did in Naples. If you're happy and you got your family, the people you love, and you help your parents, and you're good. You don't need, success is never measured by how much money you got in your bank account. It's measured by how happy you are as a person. And for you to be happy, you might just need to not let other people ruin your life. You might have to just dodge a few people. They're trying to pull you down with them. And again, all the people that were, when I was growing up, they were the coolest kids, and it seemed like everything was going in their favor, and they were going to be the coolest, baddest kids ever. You look at where they're at now, and then you're like, well, what happened to this guy? What happened to that guy? Life is one very long, you're going to live a long life. Life isn't just by the time you're 21, it's done and over, and you're already, life is long, man. You're going to have kids, and you're going to have grandkids. And your kids are going to have kids. You're going to watch, as a successful human, you're going to watch your kids grow up. And you want to be able to provide a piece of land for them, a property. You want to send them to college. You want to see your kids send their kids to college. Life isn't just between the ages of 12 and 23 or something,